I'm a professional Photoshop artist, and in this video I'm going to take thumbnails of popular streamers and giving them a new look using Photoshop. Welcome guys to Thumblify. And with each thumbnail, level of editing will increase, starting with simple changes and ending with full remakes, so you definitely want to stick around for that. So let's begin. The first thumbnail is by none other than Cenat himself. This one caught my eye with its simplicity, you know, but I think with a couple tweaks, this video could have gotten a lot more views. So let's make those tweaks. First, we need to separate the characters from the background. I'll use pen tool for that and create a separate selection for Kai to make the editing easier. As you can see, the table blocks the other arm, so I'm just gonna copy it from the visible arm and paste it right here. The reason for this is I'm going to use AI to enhance the quality of the picture. I'm removing the table by painting over it and cloning parts of clothes to seamlessly hide it. I also noticed that 3 girls are wearing sweaters, but no one else is, so I'll paint over them and use Stable Diffusion to generate a white shirt instead. This process took me about 20 minutes, so let's see what Stable Diffusion gives me. As you can see, the result is pretty good. Now I'm going to combine this picture with the original one. And I'll do the same thing with Kai. Now the quality looks a lot nicer. Next, I'm going to adjust the background by making it slightly brighter while darkening the bottom just a tiny bit. Then I'll go to camera raw filters and bring out more details in the characters. Then I tried coloring the shirt green, but that didn't really work, so I scrapped the idea. Instead, I made Kai's jacket red. I think it will help it stand out more in the thumbnail and grab attention. Then I'll brighten up the eyes of all characters. This step is pretty straightforward. Then comes some dodge and burning. And this effect I covered in my Mr. Beast thumbnail video.
Then I'll add 2 gray layers, set them to overlay, and dodge and burn my face. And I'll decrease the fill to make it more subtle.
And I'm following the exact same process for every character. Now I'll add another more subtle highlight around all the characters to make them stand out from the background. And here's the final product. It's pretty straightforward and simple edit. This took me about 40 minutes to complete, and I think it's pretty good for 40 minutes. If you're enjoying this breakdown, consider subscribing because I've got plenty more coming up your way. And also guys, I'm open for commissions, so my email will be in the description if you guys interested. And let's continue. We have a POKIMANE thumbnail here, and honestly, it's pretty good. All the characters are large and recognizable. However, there are a few changes I'd like to make to ensure it fits the title and video's theme. So what I wanted to change in this thumbnail is to make it clearer to the viewer that video takes place in Hong Kong, or at least give them an idea before they read the title. This is gonna be a little challenging, but I got a pretty cool idea in mind. As always, I'm separating the characters from the background and running them through Stable Diffusion to improve the image quality. And since I've already shown this process to you, I'll just skip that part. So after that, we end up with these 4 cutouts, allowing us to position them more effectively. So what I want to do is flip this girl horizontally and make the secondary characters slightly smaller. This gives us a little more room for the background while keeping the composition balanced. Now, the background was a little tricky because I wanted to resemble Hong Kong. Then an idea came to mind to add an Instagram style location pin with Hong Kong written on it. This made the process so much easier because now the location is instantly recognizable. For the background itself, I'm choosing a random image of Hong Kong street, and in camera raw filters, I'll go to optics and distort it slightly to create a nice fisheye effect. Then I will take the fisheye lens edges thing and blend them into background to make it stand out even more. Then I'll tweak the background colors, making it slightly more bluish. I'll also brighten the shadows and slightly dim the highlights using Curves adjustment layer. Now I want to refine characters a bit more. I started by changing colors of their clothing to make them stand out from the background and from each other. However, something still felt missing in the background. So I decided to add some Chinese style decoration, and I think it really helps solidify the setting. I've never used that word in my life. Back to the characters, I initially chose red for their clothing, but I didn't like how it looked, so I'll be tweaking that again later. But for now, let's move on to dodging and burning. And then I'll brighten up their eyes and add some white highlights around them to separate them from the background. And here we go. I feel like we truly captured the Hong Kong atmosphere with this one. So yeah, let me know what you think about this one in the comments below, and let's move on to the next one. And now for the final and the most challenging thumbnail of the day, we have QTCinderella. QTCinderella. And I really wanted to emphasize the shopping aspect of the video. So as usual, we start by separating all the characters from the background using pen tool. For Valkyrie, I used a different image where her face is more visible since I wanted to show her expression more clearly. I thought a Christmas tree market would be a great fit. Even though it won't be visible in the final image, I still wanted to include it. And I also added another picture with lights to create a warm, cozy atmosphere. To enhance that feeling even more, I painted some soft light using solid color set to color dodge add mode. I also drew some highlight behind the characters and slightly lowered the fill so it's more subtle. I definitely wanted to include a Christmas tree, and the way I positioned the characters left a perfect spot for it, so I placed the tree right here. In camera filters, I'll pull the shadows all the way up to bring out more details as possible. To further emphasize the shopping theme, I added a price tag on a Christmas tree. I also pixelated the number while keeping the $sign visible, since the exact price isn't important, just the idea of it. Next, I blended the Christmas tree into the scene by adding some highlights and shadows. To separate it from the background a bit more, I painted some white behind it on an empty layer and brightened up the background using exposure adjustment layer. Now it's finally time to work on the characters. First, as always, I applied dodging and burning. This really helps define their faces and prevents them from being too flat. Then I brighten up their eyes and teeth. Next, I added some highlights. Using hue and saturation adjustment layer, I painted soft highlights on one side of the characters and then created another hue and saturation adjustment layer, increased the brightness and applied it closer to the edges. To further separate characters from the background and from each other, I painted a white highlight on the opposite side, balancing out the orange tones. This trick really helps define the characters more clearly. After some final tweaks and camera filters, here's the finished product. Honestly, I think this is one of my favorite thumbnails I've made in terms of atmosphere and overall vibes. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to see more Thumblify videos, make sure to subscribe and also leave a like so I know that you guys enjoying this content. And then I'll see you in the next one.